There's no real reason I laugh, but the sound feels jarring even to my ears. What about the fact that she's been by herself ever since Jack left? Or the way she watches us at every gathering? My name's Joanna, and I can't stop glancing at the ring on my hand. Even after 3 weeks, it still catches me by surprise, sparkling as I wash dishes or type at work. The princess cut diamond isn't flashy, but it's refined and fits my hand perfectly. Chris spent months quietly consulting my sister about my tastes, and like everything else he does, he nailed it. Since our engagement, the apartment feels transformed, cozier, more settled. Photos of us decorate the walls, hiking in Colorado, dancing at his sister's wedding, bundled up in scarves at last year's Christmas market. 3 amazing years together, and now we're mapping out our future. A spreadsheet for wedding venues is open on my laptop, and at least 50 bridal magazines are scattered across the coffee table. Everything should feel flawless, right? That's what makes this knot in my stomach even worse. But I swear, Joe, I saw him. Lisa's words replay in my mind over and over. We were at Café Bleu for our regular Sunday brunch, sharing Belgian waffles, as we've done every weekend for the past 5 years, when she dropped this bombshell. At Club Azur, close to midnight, he was kissing her, a tall blonde in a red dress. Lisa and I have been best friends since freshman year of college. We bonded over awful roommates in impossible chemistry labs. She's been there for me through everything, my devastating breakup with Matt, countless nights of crying, and even staying up until 3 a.m. last year helping me prep for a big promotion presentation. She's never lied to me, not once in all these years. But Chris, he told me he was working late that night on the Martinez project. He even sent me a text at 11:30 p.m., complete with a sad face emoji and a complaint about the vending machine being out of his favorite energy drink. It all seemed so normal, so typical of him. The sound of his key in the door snaps me back to the present. My heart pounds so hard I can barely breathe, and my palms are clammy as I clench them in my lap. The engagement ring suddenly feels heavy, almost suffocating. "Hey, babe." He greets me with his usual warm smile, dropping his laptop bag by the door and shrugging off the navy blazer I gave him for his birthday last year. His hair is slightly messy, like he's been running his fingers through it all day. He looks tired but happy. He leans in to kiss me, but I turn my head just slightly. He notices, of course. Chris notices everything. Is everything okay? "I don't know, Chris, you tell me." My voice trembles more than I want it to, and I hate how exposed I sound. "Is there something you need to tell me? Something you've been hiding?" His forehead creases in confusion. "What? No, of course not. What's going on?" "Where were you last Thursday night?" I demand. "Working late, remember? The Martinez project had a deadline." "Don't lie to me." The words spill out before I can stop them, each one feeling like a betrayal of everything we've built. "Lisa saw you at Club Azur with another woman. She saw you kissing her." The genuine shock on his face makes me hesitate for a moment. His eyes widen, he steps back as if I've physically struck him. But then I remember, the man looks hundreds of years younger than me. His unwavering certainty, the way her voice trembled when she told me, how she couldn't even meet my gaze at first, devastated to be the one to break the news. "Joanna, I have no idea what you're talking about. I was at the office until midnight. We ordered pizza around 10, and it was 1 a.m. when we finally wrapped up." I want so desperately to believe him. My heart aches with the hope that he's telling the truth. My ring catches the light again, and for a second, I see the future we've dreamed of, our wedding, the suburban house, the 2 kids we've talked about. But why would Lisa fabricate something like this? What would she gain from lying? The silence between us grows heavier with every passing moment, filled with all the trust I thought we had and the doubt I never wanted to feel. "Hey, I'm Chris. I can't focus on anything at work today." The Morrison contract sits untouched on my screen because all I can think about is last night's conversation with Joanna. Club Azur? I haven't set foot in a club in over a year, let alone last Thursday, when Jake and I were at the office finishing the Martinez presentation. We ordered pepperoni pizza at 10 and spent the night griping about the client's impossible requests until midnight. The worst part isn't the accusation, it's the look in Joanna's eyes. That mixture of pain and uncertainty is something I've never seen before, not in all 3 years we've been together. We've always trusted each other. At least I thought we did. Now I keep replaying every moment of Thursday night in my head as if I need to prove it to myself. I push back from my desk and head to the break room for coffee, hoping it'll clear my mind. Jake's there, stirring creamer into his cup. "You look awful, man," he says, raising an eyebrow. I want to tell him everything, but how do you even begin to explain this? None of it makes sense. Why does known me almost as long as Joanna has? We've all spent so much time together. Game nights, birthdays, even that disastrous cooking class where Lisa and her ex nearly set the kitchen on fire. Why would she say she saw me if she didn't? My phone buzzes. It's a text from Joanna. "Are you sure there's nothing you want to tell me?" My fingers hover over the keyboard as I stare at the message. What can I even say? I've already told her the truth, but she clearly doesn't believe me. The thought makes my stomach churn. 3 years of building trust, sharing our lives, and planning a future together, shaken by one person's word against mine. I step into the stairwell and call her. "Jo, listen to me. I don't know why Lisa is saying these things, but I was at work that night. I love you. I would never..." Then why would Lisa lie? Her voice is quiet, uncertain, and hearing her sound so fragile breaks my heart. "She's my best friend, Chris. She saw you with her own eyes." Frustration seeps into my tone, and I have to make a conscious effort to stay composed. But I'm telling you the truth. Call Jake if you want. He was with me until midnight. We can check the pizza receipt, the security logs from the building, whatever proof you need. The silence on the other end of the call speaks louder than words. She doesn't believe me, not enough to take my word over her friends. 3 years together, an engagement, and all the dreams we've built. None of it is enough for her to trust me now. The weight of that realization hits me like a blow to the chest. "I need to go," she says at last. "I need time to think." The line goes dead, leaving me alone in the stairwell, staring blankly at my phone. How did things spiral into this so quickly? Our engagement was perfect, and now it feels like it's unraveling over something I didn't even do. Back at my desk, my gaze drifts to the photo sitting there. It was taken the day I proposed, at her favorite spot in the botanical gardens. We look so happy, so sure of what our future holds. Her smile is radiant as she shows off the ring, and I can still remember how my hands shook while slipping it onto her finger. Now, I'm not sure about anything anymore. Jake pauses by my desk, concern written across his face. "You okay? You've been staring at that picture for 10 minutes. I just shake my head, unable to put into words how quickly joy can turn into uncertainty, or how fragile trust can be when shattered by a single accusation. The engagement ring I worked so hard to save for now feels like a heavy reminder, not of our plans, but of how fragile love can be. During my lunch break, I ignored my buzzing phone until Lisa's name popped up on the screen, making my stomach tighten. After our last talk about Chris, every call from her fills me with dread. "You won't believe who I just saw," she started, her tone casual, as if she were gossiping about something trivial. "I was grabbing lunch at Giovanni's, that Italian place by the mall, and there was Chris, sitting in a cozy corner booth with that same woman from the club." Suddenly, my salad tasted like sawdust. "Are you sure?" I asked, my voice barely audible. Of course I'm sure. It was her, the blonde, but this time in a fitted black dress. They looked pretty cozy, too. He was laughing at something she said. You know that laugh where he... Her description hit me like a punch. I knew exactly the laugh she meant. I'd seen it directed at me countless times, usually when I'm cracking jokes. Chris had texted me last night saying he was working late again. For the third time this week. Oh, what time was this? I managed to ask, my voice shaking. Around 1:30, she replied. They were having lunch together. Her tone was sympathetic, but there was something else. Satisfaction, maybe? I was too upset to dwell on it. I thought you'd want to know. I hate seeing him do this to you, she added. The rest of my day passed in a haze. Every time my phone buzzed, I hoped it was Chris explaining everything. Instead, it was just work messages, including one from him saying he'd be late again tonight. When he finally walked in at 9:30 p.m., I was waiting in the living room, sitting in the dark. The air was thick with tension, like the moments before a storm. He looked startled to see me there. We need to talk. My voice sounded foreign to me, strained and unfamiliar. Lisa saw you again today, I said, each word sharp. Chris froze, his hands halfway to loosening his tie. What? Where? It just was for Giva. It's with her, the same woman, I replied, my voice cracking. Don't even bother denying it this time. This is insane, he snapped, his voice rising. I ate lunch at my desk today. I haven't been to Giovan's in months, not since we went there for your birthday. Stop lying, I shouted, standing up, my hands trembling. Lisa saw you. She described everything, the woman, the booth, even the way you laughed with her. I don't know what kind of game Lisa is playing, but I was at work. I can prove it. Your colleague would cover for you, I shot back. That's what guys do, isn't it? Cover for each other's affairs? He took a step back as if I'd physically slapped him. Is that really what you think of me? After 3 years? I don't know what to think anymore. Tears spilled down my face, ones I'd been holding back all day. My best friend has seen you with her twice now. What am I supposed to believe? How about believing the man you're engaged to, he said, his tone icy. The one who's never given you a reason to doubt him before. Lisa started spreading these lies. The argument spiraled from there, our voices rising with each accusation. In my mind, I kept picturing them together. At the club, at Giovan's, probably laughing at how clueless I was. I can't believe you won't even consider that Lisa might be lying, he said finally, his voice weary. And I can't believe you're still denying it when she saw you twice. My throat was raw from shouting. What's next, Chris? Where else is she gonna catch you with her? He just shook his head and walked away, leaving me in the living room surrounded by photos of happier times. Images that suddenly felt like they belonged to strangers. For the past week, I've been living in a nightmare where everything I've built feels like it's crumbling. Every time I come home, Joanna watches me with suspicion. Every text I send is dissected, and every late meeting becomes another chance for Lisa's lies to take root. Now she claims to have seen me again, this time at some trendy rooftop bar downtown, with the same blonde. I wasn't even in that part of the city. I was stuck in a budget meeting until 8 p.m., staring at spreadsheets until my eyes burned. But it doesn't seem to matter anymore. Facts don't carry any weight now. I'm standing in our kitchen, watching Joanna's face as she recounts Lisa's latest accusation. The woman I love, the one I plan to spend my life with, looks at me like I'm a stranger, a liar, a cheater? That's enough. My fist slams onto the counter before I can think better of it, making the fruit bowl rattle and sending an apple tumbling to the floor. This has to stop. Stop, Joanna. Your precious Lisa is lying and you're too blind to see it. Don't you dare call me blind, she snaps, stepping closer, her eyes blazing with anger. Lisa's been my friend for years. She has no reason to lie. I laugh bitterly, the sound harsh even to my own ears. Oh, no reason? How about the fact that she's been alone ever since Jack left? Or the way she watches us at every gathering, always making little comments about how lucky you are. She's jealous, Joanna. She's trying to destroy what we have. That's absurd. Lisa would never. Oh, but I would. My voice rises with every word. I would throw away 3 years, our future, the house we planned to buy, the family we dreamed of. For what? Some mystery blonde that no one but Lisa has ever seen? Joanna flinches at my tone, but I can't stop now. The dam has burst. If you're so willing to believe her over me, maybe you should marry her instead and live happily ever after. The silence that follows is unbearable. Joanna stares at me, her mouth slightly open as I reach for my keys. You know what? I'm done. This is it. My hands tremble as I remove my apartment key from the ring. What are you saying? Her voice is no longer angry, but filled with something that sounds like fear. I'm saying the engagement is off. The key lands on the counter with a harsh clink. I can't stay with someone who doesn't trust me, someone who's willing to throw away everything we've built over lies from a jealous friend. Hey, Chris, wait. I've done nothing but wait, Joanna, I interrupt, my voice cracking. Waited for you to trust me, waited for you to see reason, waited for you to choose me over Lisa's lies. Grabbing my jacket, I turn toward the door. I'm done waiting. The door slams shut behind me, the sound reverberating through me like the echo of finality. Sitting in my car, I grip the steering wheel tightly, the finger that used to hold my engagement ring feeling exposed and wrong. My phone lights up with call after call from Joanna, but I don't answer. Some things, once broken, can't be repaired. 3 years of love, trust, and dreams, shattered by jealousy and doubt. I start the engine, knowing I won't return. In the rearview mirror, our apartment building grows smaller, just like the future we once imagined together. A year has passed, 365 days since everything fell apart. The ring box is still in my dresser drawer, buried beneath winter scarves I never use. It's strange how something that once symbolized hope can become such a painful reminder. I shouldn't even be here, standing outside Chris's new office building. My palms are damp, and the speech I've rehearsed 100 times feels disorganized in my head. 2 months ago, I would have been too ashamed to face him. But that was before Sarah's wedding, before I saw Lisa pull the same stunt with another friend. It played out exactly like my situation. Lisa claimed she'd seen Sarah's fiancé with another woman, but this time there was proof she was lying. Security footage from the restaurant showed he'd never been there. When confronted, Lisa broke down, admitting everything, including what she had done to Chris and me. The elevator ride feels unbearably slow and yet too fast. According to the directory, Chris is now a senior partner. The brass plaque on his office door reads, Christopher Bennett, senior partner. And seeing it makes my heart skip a beat. I remember when he was just starting out, dreaming of this very position. I knock, trying not to lose my courage. He looks up from his desk, surprise flickering across his face before his expression becomes carefully neutral. He's changed. His hair is shorter, he wears glasses now, and there's a guarded look in his eyes that wasn't there before. Joanna, he says, his tone polite but distant. This is unexpected. I know. I'm sorry for showing up unannounced. My rehearsed speech evaporates. I needed to tell you something about Lisa. He leans back in his chair, his expression unreadable. I'm not interested. She admitted she lied, I blurt out. About everything, the club, the restaurant, all of it. She did the same thing to Sarah and Mark, but this time there was security footage. It proved she was lying. She confessed to making it all up, including what she said about you. Chris's face remains stoic, but his grip on the armrests tightens. I see. I've cut her out of my life completely, I continue, my voice breaking. All our friends have. I know it's too late, but I needed you to know that I know the truth now, that you were innocent and I should have trusted you. He stands slowly, walking over to the window. The city stretches out below, a maze of streets and buildings that suddenly feel suffocating. You're right, he says after a long pause. You should have trusted me. I know, God. Chris, I know. Tears blur my vision. I've replayed it 1,000 times in my mind. If I could go back, but we can't go back, he interrupts, turning to face me. You're asking me to forgive you, Joanna, and I do. I forgive you. But that doesn't change anything. What do you mean? I'm not interested in relationships anymore. Any relationships, he gestures vaguely. I keep things casual now. No commitments, no promises, no trust to break. It's just easier that way. His words hit me like a punch to the gut. This is what I've done. Not just destroyed our relationship, but changed who he is at his core. The Chris I knew believed in love, in forever, in building a life together. I understand, I whisper, even though my heart is chattering all over again. I needed you to know the truth. He nods, already turning back to his desk. Thank you for telling me. I have a meeting in 5 minutes. The dismissal is gentle but final. I walk out of his office, out of the building, each step heavier than the last. The truth came too late. The damage is done, irreparable. I ruined something beautiful because I trusted the wrong person. Now, neither of us will ever be the same. The ring box will stay in my drawer, a permanent reminder that some mistakes can't be undone, some trust can't be rebuilt, and sometimes the hardest lesson is learning to live with the consequences of our choices.